So I thought to myself, how do I express something that's nonlinear? It's not like step one, step two, step three. It's more of a territory. And I thought, well, maybe I will try to make a diagram. So I thought, I'm going to try to do this. This is my first time doing it. And maybe it'll be a big rubber chicken moment and I'll be like, oh God, I can't believe I tried to make a diagram. Or maybe, especially with your help, it'll be kind of cool. So I'm going to screen share. Whoa. What a weird thing for me to do. All right, let me do this thing. So we have, I'm trying to make this work. Oh, we got it. Here is the self. You might not recognize it as the self, but there it is. Here is, I bet you know what this is. The someone. It's the big heart. It feels that way some of the time, right? And here's dun 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 dun, the demon voice. So the self is full of stuff. It's got desires. It's got needs. It's got unanswered questions. And it's got wounded places. And the big question is, what am I going to do with all this stuff that's in myself? I mean, it could be a desire. I have a desire. What am I going to do with that desire? And this is roughly the popular non-healing. I can turn to myself with it and I can analyze it and I get very analytical, I get all the angles and get really like just the whole thing. Like, got it. Okay, that's one thing I could do. Let's see if I can remember. Or I could dissociate and just sort of not even admit that I have a desire at all and be very outside of my body. That's another possibility. See, I'm trying to do this in a way that's pretending as much as possible not to be profound, because that might be really cool. I'm making these dots. They can stay there. That's just a slight dissociation there. I could be a pain artist about my desire and get really like make a kind of like an emotional smoke screen with a lot of drama. I could write songs, I could do art, I could sing all the time, I could complain, I could make a big, like just on and on about it until it's not even clear anymore what the desire was in the first place. But I've really expressed myself. So there's that as a possibility. I could give myself a hell of a lot of advice. Whoops, didn't mean to move you, love. I could just like from within me, I could just say, you should do this and you should do that. And why don't you just work out more? And why, like, you know, there's all these different things. Let's put that back down. I could tell myself these things. That's also the self. It's worth getting to know what are my, oh, wow, I didn't even know that could happen. Sorry, I didn't mean to make anybody dizzy. It's worth getting to know your own self strategies when you have a desire, a need, an uncensored question, or a wound. You could do blame. Don't look at me. You could just be like, I'm pointing all the arrows away. That's a good one too. Ultimately, we have all this stuff in us. Desires, needs, unanswered questions, wounds. And we really can't deal with it on our own. though we try and try and try and try. And the varieties of how we deal with it on our own are pretty much endless. Great to know what our main strategies are. Oh, I have a desire. What do I do? Oh, I have a need. What do I do? Oh, I have an unanswered question. What do I do? I have a wound. What do I do? Not what should I do? What do I do? When I am reliant on myself and that starts to falter and it's not getting me what I want or what I need or getting an answer to the question or healing the wound, this leaves an opening for something else to come in and kind of and well, you know what happens when, for instance, we take the desire and we turn it towards the demon voices and we say, I really want whatever it is, money, a partner, a different career, and we're turning towards the demon voices. They will, like, as we turn towards the demon voices, they turn back towards us, and there becomes a kind of bigger and bigger two-way street. And either they're going to be telling us the way, they're either going to give us suggestions that are going to destroy our heart. Like, if you want to make money, you're going to have to something soul killing. If you want a partner, you're going to need to, or even worse, telling us you're never going to, you can't, it's not, you're too stupid, and there you have that, and you know that whole world really well. It's the same thing with the needs. When we turn them towards the demon voice, they either give advice that sounds rational, but it's cold and it's gonna hurt. But you think you have to, it's like, you have to, da-da-da. Or it goes straight in for the, you stupid creature, I can't believe you're so needy, or da-da-da, all those kinds of things. We've been talking a lot about the bottom two, because that's where it gets very, very acute, very, very fast. And the question of, I have an unanswered question, and I start opening up this two-way street between my unanswered question and demon land. And the more I stay in that conversation, the wider and thicker that road becomes. And the same thing with the wound. If we turn it here, we may even get some temporary numbness, some really great stuff. We bring it here, and what comes back is maybe some of the best anesthetic, like anger and hatred and blame and the unsolvable universal rages. And that can be nicely anesthetic for a little while, but what's getting in underneath is despair and all kinds of little, I don't have to say too much more about that. Yeah. Like, you know what that looks. It's like when what's inside of us, and here we're working mostly with the questions and the wounds, turns that way, we're in trouble. And it gets worse and worse and worse. If we turn it towards the big heart, like, even if we start with, say, a desire, I really want a partner. I really want a home that's a nice home. Again, we're turning it towards the big heart. But what's happening is that as we turn it towards the big heart, there's a backflow that comes back from the big heart. And that road widens. And we start having more and more input from the love and the loving truth into the desire. such that the desire becomes cleaned. Because some of our desires we learned somewhere, they're not really our desire. They're not true.
Can you say that again, Thea? Like your wording about it going back and becoming clean?
As we turn a desire or a need or a question or a wound towards the big heart, we're not just turning towards the big heart and sending it there. There's a backflow that comes back. And that begins to clean the desire or need or question or wound. It actually cleans it, because some of our desires are just made up shit that we thought we wanted, but it's actually crazy. We don't actually really want that. We think we ought to want it. We've been kind of socially tricked into the idea that that's what we want. And we don't actually. We think, I want everybody to like me. And then we turn to the big love, saying, my beloved big heart, I want everybody to like me. And a backflow starts coming back that's loving and truing. And the nature of the desire itself begins to change. Just by being in that back and forth conversation, we start realizing, well, yeah, I do want people to like me, but not the way I thought I did. Actually, it's more about my deeper integrity and their deeper integrity. And I mean, it could go in many different directions, but the love trues us and helps us feel for, when we get down to the bottom line, the desire that was made in my soul as part of my true nature that I am here to live out the way an eagle wants to fly. This is what I want because I've been designed in my health to want this. And through my whole being, because of being in this conversation, I'm calling it a conversation, but it has no words, an exchange. I'm being loved and trued in that area and given hotter, hotter, colder, colder feelings about it. Is that making sense, Fatima? Or what you're looking for?
I think mm,
Uh-huh.
I think my question, or where I don't know, like I guess it's the conversation between you and the big love, and then the return to what, like you think the question is this, and what you were talking about of, oh, I think I want this, or, when you then turn those, and then like that new pathway that then is formed with the soul. I don't know if I have words for it. Like, is it?
I think I might have a simpler way to say it. We're full of all kinds of stuff. Most of the time it's covered over, twisted, unclear, gobbledygooked, and we don't know what to do with it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever any of it turns towards the big love and says, I'm bringing this to you, there's an opportunity then, like when you turn towards the sun can shine on you. And that quality of turning towards the big love with all of this, so that the big love can turn towards you, can get in, can pour into all of the stuff inside of us. Under those conditions, we become our real selves. Our desires become true. Our needs become true. Our questions come into relationship with truth. And our wounds also are cleaned and trued and loved and brought back to who and what we are actually here to be. This works on a preventive basis as well. The degree to which we are turned towards the big love and in saturated communion is the degree to which we're not turning the other way and not going round and round inside of ourselves. It's the way to be healthy and stay out of trouble, and from the Chinese sense, manifest destiny. Obey the order be and live our life. Is that a simpler way of putting it?
Yeah, I think that landed more and I was able to kind of feel that more.
Okay.
Isaac agrees.
That's really important to me. So what we're working with, by any means necessary, is that everything inside of us be referenced towards the heart. Whoop, yeah. As a way of life. Then we're not just out of trouble, we're being cleaned and trued and nourished and loved. Okay, so when something other than that is happening, when we're wrapped around our own axle in here, or worse, in the the influence of the demon voices, the most important thing is going to be awareness that this is not normal, that this is not just the way it is. The biggest and most difficult trap, whether we're analyzing absolutely everything, analyze it, or turning to the demons, is feeling as though that's just the way it is. It's just the way I feel. I'm just in this mood. I'm just an anxious person. I'm just confused. I'm just really, really hurt. Okay. All of that seems incredibly self-evident when we're in it. Like really self-evident. I'm just really, really hurt because this, fantastic. I'm really, really hurt. Set up 3 chairs. That's definitely step 1. Next is looking at the whole map so that I can feel, where am I on this map? And which part I hand the microphone to first. It might be a little bit variable. You might have to run on hunch for that. It's like, okay, there are 3 chairs and I'm really, really hurt. You hurt me. You might want to first just even mention, do you remember that love exists? Is there even such a thing? Can we help you find that so that you're really, really hurt, but you're also remembering that there is love and starting to feel it? Sometimes if that's already starting to happen, it starts already pulling out some of the barbs. Because, all right, how do I do this? I need 2 different colors. When this is starting to occupy us, it's doing its best to crowd out any possibility that the love could get in. And when we're with the love, even if it's kind of rudimentary, it starts to crowd out the possibility that the demon voice could get in. Sufis call it the mujahada, the holy war. Which end do we tug on first? Try something, find out. I like to try helping people connect to the big love first, because if they can do that, it cuts through a lot of crap pretty fast. Like if they're, I'm really hurt and you really hurt me. You know, on the level of demon voices, they're how to say this, I'm trying to find a polite way to be in that one. When I am in that state, what I'm really saying is I'm feeling more and more justified to spit fire back at you. I now feel allowed to speak to you quite harshly and hurt back because you did this thing. Hey, what, you know? And the moment I'm more in touch with the love, I can see, feel that there's actually something underneath that's just in pain, that's just hurting in there. And the demon backs off. I need to get rid of this thing. I can't stand it. I have to see you guys. Okay. I was starting to lose feeling all of you. I need to just stare at you for a moment. I'm in recovery right now from having gotten lost in a diagram.